Alright, guys and gals, for this first section, I just want to go over like maybe some recommended beginner DJ controllers if anyone is interested, even just like as a casual hobby and you just want to buy something that's affordable enough, entry level. Beginner is also good, but like the thing with entry level controllers is that like features are so limited that like you can outgrow it very quickly and you can learn fast. And even like the physical size and cell, like not enough buttons, it's a bit cramped. And I know that I've had that experience on two different controllers, so that can get frustrating if you find yourself more interested and you want more that's really more beginner friendly and gives you better learning tools. So this is why I'll mention Alpha Theta, or formerly known as Pioneer DJ. Alpha Theta DDJ FLX2. It's a good entry level. I know that like maybe in the States and other countries, like below the $200 mark, maybe like $185, but for some reason I've been able to find it between $225 and $235. So when you see it online, when you see a picture of it, what you see is what you get. It does have the two jog wheels, three EQ bands, four performance pads, eight clicky pad buttons, the tempo fader, crossfader, volume fader, play cue, the shift beat sync, all that. What it doesn't have is there's no track browser. It doesn't have any it lacks beat effects, level depth, lack buttons for charging beat effects or changing beat effects. There is no VU meter just to let you know like how's your decibel level, that you're not clipping into the red. There aren't any secondary performance modes. So you have to rely on software if you want to use something like maybe Slicer or Beat Jump or stems. You have to customize buttons for stems, which I'll talk about. And the output speakers are only like 3.5 millimeter auxiliary instead of RCA. And for controlling the mastered headphone knobs, like very small fiddly little knobs, like you know what I mean? It's just cheap, tiny, cheap looking knobs. So on the side, so that's not good. There's no mic control, no manual loop, and like I said, no trim gain knobs, which is sort of like controlling the volume level or decibel level of your track. It's different from the volume fader of your track. It's more like improving the sound level of the track. You'd have to rely on like auto feature if you're using record box. That's why I've had a similar frustration with, Hercules' Impulse series. For a while, I did like the Impulse 200, but it lacked so much. There was no mid EQ for one. It only had 8 pad modes, total 8 pads, 4 on each side. That was frustrating, and only 4 modes. Like only having 4 EQ points, really annoying, really frustrating. So I didn't like that. But this is why I do want to recommend the FLX4. It really packs a punch. It has so much for beginners. 8 performance modes, trim knobs, gain knobs, like everything I said that the FLX2 doesn't have is available on the FLX4. One of the most popular, better, also good for other software. It really does take advantage of Rekordbox. I know it has Serato compatibility. I'm just not a fan of like the whole Serato Lite feature. And then like to use, let's say like 8 Q points, you have to pay, upgrade to Serato Pro or subscribe. So that's just not my thing. FLX4 is really good, but like just a few things like maybe I'm not a fan of, like, the inclusion of the smart fader. It's just maybe too beginner. Like once you get used to manual mixing without relying on the smart fader, it just seems kind of useless to me. So that's why I'm just not like really a fan of it for some reason. And I know there's other softwares like the Hercules, the Newmark, and the Tractor and all that from Native Instruments, but other controls, I didn't love the Impulse 200. I know Impulse 300, really good for beginners. Impulse 500, semi-pro, a bit high. Impulse 300, I've seen like $300 to $330. Impulse 500 also from Hercules, like close to like $400 or so. Impulse 700, More for intermediates, scratch DJs. There's also the Newmark controls, but more for Serato and also other DJ like the GRV6. Let me just say one more time: the DDJ GRV6, 4 channels. Oh my goodness, it packs a lot, but it's huge and it's almost $1,000 controller. The RV5 is more like for scratch DJs sort of device. So if you want to start, I would say like something like maybe the Newmark Mixtrack Pro, FLX4, Impulse 300 MK2, maybe Impulse 500 if you want. I think those are solid enough. But I mean, like, I know Record Box is like the industry standard, but if you give the Hercules hardware a try and really learn using Dejuiced, I think you're just going to appreciate the fact that the barrier to entry for learning is not very restrictive. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate having like 8 cue points instead of 4. 4 just feels restrictive. It's just not helpful, you know? Like, I like knowing just not just the intros, the outros, the chorus, where are my verses, where I like to have a loop, maybe where I like to just say skip but not press the button. Where's the breakdown? Where's the build up? Any other notes for different cue points? I just like to be very specific. I like to use all 8 of my cue points on different controller that I'm going to mention. And as a matter of fact, just without wasting time, I'm going to present something right here. This is actually a Hercules hardware. This is the P32. As you can see here, and this might surprise many, obviously no jog wheels. There's no tempo fader, but you can change it with a tempo knob. It feels good. The size is really nice. All the buttons. You know what I like about all the buttons here? Like rubberized clicky. Like not very plastic clicky. You know what I mean? It feels nice, very soft. Rubberized. Even the buttons are knobs and buttons. They're very nice. Just keep in mind, I have to accept the fact no gain knob. But there's an auto gain, at least from a recent software update. The auto gain has somewhat improved, so it's fine. But it's better to have manual gain, 2 channels, you know, knob for like beat jumping. There's of course the hot cues. I can have 8 for free. The loops, you know, the slip, slicer. Slicer is fine. I try to take advantage of the slicer. It's not my favorite, but it can be useful when you figure it out. The sampler can be fun to customize. I really like the layout of the beat effects, like having all of these knobs here. So this is pretty cool. It does feel nice. What price was I got at a discount, so price was decent. What I didn't know or fully realize is that this was like, I don't want to call it outdated hardware, but it's known to be like a legacy hardware from back in 2016. So by now it's like a 10-year-old controller, but it is surprisingly really good, really fun, feels great, size is nice. I remember a really small compact Instinct controller from my sister. Sorry, big sis, but it really sucked. It's not the issue with the jog wheels. Like the Impulse jog wheels feel really nice, but just learning from the P32, it's really great. It's so cool. Until like I feel ready for something, because I'm not willing or wanting right now. I'm not at a place of like taking DJing seriously, but I am having fun learning. Does that make sense? I'm just not really there and like taking DJing seriously just yet, but the fun of learning is like just to grow and see where it takes me. That's the whole idea.